Good morning, everyone. This is Jim Longo with HighWire Press. I'm the Vice President of Product Management, and I'm delighted to have Sebastian Kohlmeyer and Joe Gorney from Semantic Scholar here to talk about our latest partnership with Semantic Scholar and AI.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Jim. And we're excited to be able to present this to you today. Get familiar with the new partnership that HighWire and Semantic Scholar have, and hopefully answer a lot of questions that you might have about the background of Semantic Scholar, how we work, and what we're going to be able to provide for you in the future. So just to introduce myself, I'm Joe Gorney. I'm the Strategic Partnership Manager here, the main contact point that most of you will be having back and forth communications with if needed, and the one that's working directly with Jim on setting up the partnership. And I have a colleague with me.
Hi, I'm Sebastian Kohlmeyer. I'm the Senior Manager for Program Management and Business Operations with Semantic Scholar. I'm also excited to join today. I'll cover a lot of the technical details and talk a little bit about the type of data that we make available, how HighWire Press and HighWire's publishers can use the data that we provide, and we'll go into some more details about some of the technical infrastructure that we have in place to power our website.
Thank you. All right, so just to get started and introduce you to who we are, Semantic Scholar is a service that is underneath the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence. We are a nonprofit organization aimed at creating AI for the common good. We have multiple different programs that work under the umbrella of the Allen Institute. Semantic Scholar is one of those, but as you can see here, we have several other programs that are very at the forefront of AI technology, and feel free to go ahead and investigate those at your leisure through our site or on other internet news outlets that you are interested in. So to give you an idea, Semantic Scholar is a free AI-powered research tool for scientific literature. As you can see here, we extract meaning and identify connections from within papers and surface those insights to help scholars discover and understand research. So basically what we're trying to do is allow for researchers to be able to find the most poignant information about their subject matter and give them refined points of information that will be able to accelerate their research in a manner that they haven't been able to do over the past 20 to 30 years. Just the amount of research materials that are out there are overwhelming, and as you probably know, most researchers can only read around 250 articles a year. So we want to make sure that those 250 articles that they're able to read are the ones that are most focused on their topic points. So as I kind of alluded to, our mission is to help scholars overcome information overload by empowering them to discover and understand the scientific literature most relevant in their work. We do this by creating what we call the academic knowledge graph, which consists of encompassing metadata and full text PDF information so that our AI models and machine learning can decipher the different aspect points of the papers and then refine those and collate those into usable pieces of information such as citations and references and paper connections. Sebastian will get a lot more into the technology part of that, but currently our corpus encompasses about 178 million different papers consisting of around 60 million different authors and covering a full range of topics up to around 350,000. What you're seeing now is basically the paper detail page for an article. This is a refined paper detail page that would happen after we receive the full metadata download from HighWire in this aspect, and it would refine the look of the page based on that metadata file from what we possibly had previously if we had just crawled the page and got some basic understanding and metadata from the actual page. But here, as you can see, the citation intent has been put onto the page so that that occurs in our AI modeling. And for the bonus kind of features as a partner, what we do is there's a button called, as you can see here on the page, it says View on ACM. That's a branded button for our partners that we have agreements with. And in the future, for any HighWire distributed materials, that would say View on HighWire. A user would then be able to create an account, and they can save papers to their library, create alerts, and then even make citations on that paper directly from the paper detail page. And we have many different other options that help define that paper, such as showing figures and tables, supplemental content, references, similar papers, GitHub repositories if applicable, and video content that is associated with that actual paper. We have a number of different premier partners that we're working with, HighWire included, since we just signed that partnership with them. But as you can see, this is just a small piece of the number of partnerships that we have. We also have a number of data partners that help build and fill out our corpus and give us the metrics that we need to be able to highlight that information on site. So this is a use case example of what happens when someone goes into a partnership agreement with us. Previously, if we had unrefined metadata on the page, the traffic going to that page is not very, for lack of a better word, fluid. So once we start getting refined metadata in, it helps search and discoverability, and paper detail page views go through the roof, as you can see here. This is just a very small publisher that probably has somewhere around 500,000 to 600,000 articles that are currently in our corpus. And as you can see, once they started delivering that content and the metadata to us, the paper detail page views went through the roof. And then with that button that I associated that would say View on HighWire, the paper detail page click-through rate will take that paper. When they click on that button, they'll go directly to the paywalled content, or if it's an open access article on the actual HighWire site. And then there would be the opportunity to actually do a conversion of that customer into, if it's a pay content. What you're seeing here is a breakdown of what that click-through rate is based on monthly grouping, and it goes anywhere. We've seen results of about 12% to 20% click-through rate directly to the partner, and hopefully that in turn turns into convertible traffic on your side for sales. And just to give you kind of a background about where we came from, we launched in 2015 with a computer science focused corpus, and we expanded greatly every year since then. And just a few weeks ago, we announced via a press release that we are now encompassing all scientific fields of study. And that was a tremendous growth opportunity for us. We are up to around 7 million monthly active users now coming to the site. And we have in agreements around 550 universities, publishers, and societies that work with us to help clear this the clutter of research materials out there in the world. And just so you know our vision, we're here to accelerate scientific progress, making Semantic Scholar a tool that millions of scholars can use every day to increase the impact of their research. As we like to say, AI for the common good. I'll just reiterate, we are a nonprofit. We do not charge for any of the technology that we create, and we have no plans to do so. We are also fully funded for the next at least 10 years, if not beyond that. So there's no worry about us going anywhere. We're here to stay. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sebastian and allow him to go over some of the technical details about working with Semantic Scholar.
Great, thanks, Joe. What I'll do in the next few slides is provide an overview of our tech platform, talk a little bit about some of the AI applications that we provide on our site and within our data. And then at the end, talk a little bit about how HighWire and HighWire's publishers can use the data that we provide to enhance content and perform analysis. So in terms of providing a technical overview, our website, semanticscholar.org, is powered by a pretty sophisticated data pipeline that's an incremental data pipeline. What that means is as updates to papers, existing papers are published, we process those updates and surface the latest version of the paper on our site. So if there are multiple versions of a paper, we always have the latest version available. So in a situation where a preprint's been published, we'll take the officially published version and make that available on the site. We also have a pluggable and extensible AI model infrastructure. What that means is, we have ways that we can easily integrate new AI models to work to provide new insights that help with search and discovery. I'll go into some examples in a minute. We also have a comprehensive literature graph to explore papers, authors, and citations. Joe already talked about the amount of content that we have available. But within that system, we run a whole bunch of different models that enable us to cluster papers, automatically disambiguate authors to build author profile pages, extract citations, etc. We then surface all this information on our site. We have hundreds of, more than 200 million pages on the Semantic Scholar website. And our content includes mostly peer-reviewed papers, but we also have preprints, theses, conference proceedings, etc. So we are, from that perspective, open to different kinds of scientific content. We also crawl the web to find supplemental content that we associate with papers that we surface on our paper detail page, and that includes blog articles, news articles, videos, code libraries, some data sets, presentation slides, and clinical trials. So all of that information is linked to papers, and we have hundreds of thousands of instances of these content types that we make available. And then, of course, we have a public API and data sets that enable our partners to use our data, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. The first model that I want to talk about in a little bit more detail is our ScienceParse model. What the ScienceParse model does is it extracts metadata at high precision from PDFs to create a highly curated experience on our website. So in this example, you can see that it can extract the title, it can extract author metadata, and then in this example, you can see that, that it can extract reference information, including how those references connect to other papers to build out the citation graph that we have and the associated discovery experience. And then this is a little bit more of a higher level view where we've illustrated the different connections that we've developed, which aid in the discovery process. Going a little bit more in depth and going back to something that Joe already talked about, we also have a citation classification model that runs on top of our citation extraction system that classifies citations into 4 different types. We have highly influenced citations, which exclude self-citations and other what we consider low-value citations to create a more curated view into from an impact perspective. And then we also classify citations by type into background, method, and result citations. And you can see the associated citation contexts on the website. And that really helps your researchers and scientists hone in on the information that is relevant to them when they're exploring the citation graph. It can be easily overwhelming if you're looking at a paper that has more than 1,000 citations to really figure out who extended the research in that paper. So this feature helps researchers and scientists discover relevant associated information. And we do provide these classifications in our API. So that's something that's available for HighWire and HighWire's publishers to use for analysis and to surface on their websites. Here's another example of an AI application that we launched just a few months ago called Sup.ai. This is a standalone application. So every once in a while, we'll launch a standalone web application that's separate from Semantic Scholar, but powered by our data. And the reason for that is if we have a highly focused, very specific experience that we want to support, it makes sense to have that be something that we package up as a new sub-product. In this case, the goal of Sup.ai is to enable discovery of supplement and drug interactions. Supplements are not regulated by the FDA, and there's very little information available for clinicians and consumers about the types of interactions that could potentially happen between supplements and drugs. And what we do in Sup.ai is we take thousands of drugs and supplements and tens of thousands of interactions. We pull those out of scientific text that's been published, and we inform researchers and scientists and consumers about potential interactions that they might need to be aware of. And the data set here is available for download, and the website is, of course, as with everything that we provide, free to use for everybody. In terms of the API and data sets that we provide, here's a quick overview of our current API offering. We have an author API that provides author disambiguation functionality, a complete listing of publications for authors. We give authors, in addition to automatically generating author profiles, we give authors the ability to claim their profile, which helps us further curate and improve the accuracy of our author disambiguation. And all of this information is available in our API. We also provide a paper API, which gives API users access to high quality paper metadata, all of the paper clustering disambiguation benefits, and the citation statistics for impact analysis and the classifications that I talked about earlier. The full public data sets and APIs are only available for non-commercial research purposes, and that's to ensure that we are in compliance with our content licenses that we have. Publishers like HighWire and HighWire's publishers can use a subset of the data associated with their content, and where applicable, associated with open access content for commercial purposes. So you're more than welcome to access the API, pull the data that you are interested in for your publications, and use it for analysis, and use it to integrate on your website. And if that's something that you are interested in, feel free to email partnerships@allenai.org, and we'd be more than happy to help you and discuss some potential applications of how the data can be integrated. I'll provide a quick example. Archive.org, the preprint server for computer science, math, and physics, has integrated a feature with our API to show citations and references for papers on their website. And that's something that we'd be more than happy to explore with you as well. We're also actively scoping additional private APIs for publishers to support new use cases. So if there is specific data that you think would be beneficial for you, or data that you would like to integrate on your website, more than happy to have that conversation as well. And that's pretty much it in terms of the technical overview.
We have a number of questions. Do you want to jump into the questions now, or is there more to get into?
No, I think we're ready for any questions that need to be fielded.
Okay, great. So we have a question here about resolving the most recent versions. How do you folks handle that, and what frequency do you update your data set?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our data pipeline is completely incremental, and what that means is if there's an update for a specific piece of content that we already have in our corpus that comes in from one of our content partners like HighWire, we process that update immediately, and the updated content takes precedence over what we already have available on the site. So we're always showing the latest version of the content.
Great, thank you. This next question has to do with indexing or expanding your index around to expanded content types. So what you mentioned in your presentation, we do peer-reviewed articles, preprints, theses, and related reference materials. Are you have plans to expand into other content types?
Yeah, that's something that we're currently scoping out for hopefully sometime next year to possibly add new classifications for certain types of work that don't fall into the line of a published research article, such as book chapters or theses and whatnot. So we are actively looking at that and scoping the requirements for that. And as we put those into play, we will obviously be communicating out when those features are available.
Okay, great, thank you. Here's another question. How do you compare to Meta?
Yeah, that's a great question. Meta is actually we actually work closely with Meta. We have fairly regular meetings with them, and we see our work as complementary. Meta is focused on building a highly curated feed for biomedical research, and our focus is on more broadly around scientific search and discovery. We cover all scientific domains in our corpus, and we really focus on creating connections and empowering researchers and scientists to discover and search for relevant research that helps them as they work on their research projects. And our, as a nonprofit institute, our primary objective is to not duplicate efforts. I can give an example of this. We partnered recently with Microsoft Academic. They're actually one of our content sources. We work closely with them, and we are taking a lot of the great work that they've done and incorporating into Semantic Scholar so that we don't have to duplicate effort, and we can focus on new solutions to information overload that help move scientific search and discovery forward.
And just to addendum on a little bit of that too, we also bring in research articles around humanities, law, economics. So there is a wider breadth than just in the scientific field that is part of our corpus, but the majority of it, as stated, is part of the scientific research community.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that answer. One of the questions came up through our publishers regarding GDPR and the profiles of authors. Are you GDPR compliant, and have you tackled that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are 100% GDPR compliance. Our publicly available author profiles that we construct automatically are constructed using a publicly available metadata. When we do have users that reach out that ask for their author profile to be deleted, that's something that we can definitely do if the circumstances warrant that request, and we have a support team that is very responsive to these kinds of requests coming in.
Okay, great. Here's another question. My PDFs are on your site now. How can I resolve this situation?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. The way that we source content includes sourcing content from existing partners, but also includes crawling the web for publicly accessible PDFs If there are any PDFs that we're currently hosting that need to be removed, please let us know, and we're more than happy to take immediate action by integrating with and partnering with HighWire and getting complete index of the full text. We can ensure that we will not be hosting any PDFs for any HighWire content. We will always point to the publisher directly for full text access, be it paywall content or open access. So that that shouldn't be a concern. But if you do notice anything that we need to take action on, we are more than happy to address those issues.
Okay, great, thank you. What kind of reports do the publishers have access to in terms of the usage of their content on your site?
So currently what we offer are the traffic reports that I was just currently showing. That would be paper detail page views and click-through rates. We are actively scoping out a broader analytics package that will be able to dive much deeper into the metrics that occur from our side. Obviously, traffic coming through to the landing sites such as HighWire would be able to hopefully gauge the other options such as conversion rate and other metrics that would be applicable to that side of the business arrangement.
Okay, great. On the link, the branded link that you showed, you referenced view this paper on HighWire. Can it be set up so we can view it on the publisher's site as opposed to HighWire? Researchers don't know HighWire; they know the publishers.
Yeah, that's definitely what we strive for. Is something that we will work with HighWire on to figure out how to configure that so that the link has the publisher's name in it. Given the large number of HighWire publishers, we should be able to set that up in a way based off of the metadata that HighWire provides to ensure that the button is branded properly.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to clarify for our publishers. So the usage of the metadata that you provide through the paper API can be applied to any open source articles. Actually, not open source, open access articles. For papers that are still under paywall, can they apply the content metadata to those articles, or is it just the open access articles?
For a specific, yeah, that's a great question. For a specific publisher's content, they'll be able to apply the data to all of their content, including paywalled and open access content. No need to make a distinction there. The data is freely available for all content that a publisher has. If a publisher wants to go beyond that and analyze other data that's available in our corpus or use other data that's available in our corpus, then the license restricts that use to just open access content.
Great, thank you for that clarification. One publisher had a question about timing of the decision. We originally set up the first week of November as the deadline for deciding to participate. It sounds like there's still some outstanding questions. If anyone wants to filter or not participate, we could filter out your results from that feed. So we'll be following up with the publishers directly, and I'll send out an announcement on Monday or Tuesday of next week to remind folks that the deadline's coming up and that to hear any feedback people might have in terms of their participation. This has been a really helpful session. Thanks so much, Joe and Sebastian, for your time. We're really excited about the power of AI and what Semantic Scholar is able to bring to bear to our publishers and to improve their discoverability. So it's, I think we're on the leading edge here on both sides. So thank you so much for your time. And this presentation will be presented or being put up on an available site so our publishers can play it back in the future if they have any follow-up questions. And we're looking to set up one more call with our publishers for Q&A sessions, and I'll distribute that information to all the publishers and the folks that registered for the webinar originally. Thanks again. Appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.